What if the real danger of aging is not the number on your birthday cake, but the quiet moment when your legs feel weak on the stairs, your sleep breaks apart at night, and you start wondering if the best part of life is already behind you? Welcome to Dr. Daniel Podcast. Dr. Daniel Lieberman, it is an honor to have you here. So many people are scared of getting older. They are not only scared of wrinkles, they are scared of losing strength, memory, freedom, and joy. I want to start with the biggest question. Do we have more power over aging than most people think?
We do. We need to be careful with the phrase reverse aging because no one can promise to make time move backward. But many parts of what people call aging are not just fate, they are responses. Your body is always listening to the life you give it. If you change the signals, you can often improve strength, energy, balance, blood sugar, mood, and even some aspects of brain function. So the body is not broken. Very often, it is underused, overstressed, underrested, or underconnected.
That already feels like a deep relief, because so many people think decline is just the price of being alive long enough.
Yes, and that belief can become dangerous. When people think decline is normal and fixed, they stop trying. They move less, they sit more, they sleep worse, they pull away from other people. Then the body responds to that new life, and the decline gets faster. That is not just aging. That is a mismatch between the body we inherited and the world we now live in.
I want to stay with that word mismatch, because it feels like the hidden key. What do you mean by that in simple language?
Human bodies evolved in a world where daily life demanded movement, problem solving, sunlight, effort, and social connection. We did not evolve in a world of chairs, screens, stress at all hours, lonely evenings, and food everywhere. So when modern life removes the signals our bodies expect, the body reacts badly. It is like giving the wrong instructions to a very old and very smart machine. The machine is not weak, it is confused.
So the real problem is not that the body is old. The real problem is that the body is getting messages it was never built for.
Exactly. And that is why simple habits matter so much. They look small from the outside, but to the body, they are powerful instructions.
Then let us go right there. If someone listening is thinking, I am over 60, I feel myself slowing down, and I want to thrive past 90 if I can, what are the habits that matter most?
The habits I would focus on are regular movement that includes strength, real sleep that allows recovery, and strong social connection with purpose. Those three work together. Movement tells the body to maintain itself. Sleep gives the body time to repair itself. Connection gives the body a reason to keep going.
That last line is beautiful. Connection gives the body a reason to keep going. But before we get there, I want to start with movement, because I think this is where many people feel shame. They hear exercise, and they imagine a gym, pain, and failure.
That is one of the great myths. Humans did not evolve to love exercise for its own sake. We evolved to avoid wasting energy. In the past, people moved when it was useful, necessary, social, meaningful, or fun. So if you tell people they should enjoy suffering on a machine in a silent room, many bodies and minds resist. That is normal. People should not feel guilty about that.
That is such a good myth to break. So people are not lazy in some moral sense. They are normal humans.
Yes, the goal is not to become a fitness robot. The goal is to build a life that makes movement happen. Walk with someone, carry things, climb stairs, garden, dance, do chair rises, use bands or weights, put movement back into life.
But here is the question people whisper to themselves. Is walking enough?
Walking is wonderful. It is one of the best things many people can do. But as we age, walking alone is often not enough. The body does not just need motion, it also needs challenge. Muscles need resistance. Bones need loading, which means they need some force. Balance needs practice. If all you ever do is a comfortable walk at the same speed, you will get benefits, but you may still lose too much muscle and power over time.
That is a huge point, because many older adults feel proud that they walk every day, and that is good, but they might still struggle getting off the floor or lifting groceries.
Exactly. One of the most painful losses in later life is not beauty. It is power. It is the power to stand up easily, catch yourself when you trip, open a heavy door, carry a bag, or keep up with a grandchild. That is why strength matters so much. Muscle is not only for athletes, muscle is a savings account for old age.
I want every person listening to hear that again. Muscle is a savings account for old age. So what does that look like in real life for an ordinary person?
It can be very simple. If someone is not doing much now, begin by walking more most days and doing a little strength work once or twice a week. Sit down in a chair and stand up without using your hands if you can. Do wall push-ups. Carry groceries with care. Use light weights or resistance bands. Practice standing on one leg while holding a counter. Over time, progress slowly. The body responds to what it is asked to do.
And if someone is thinking, I am 72, I am embarrassed because this sounds too basic, that is exactly who needs to hear this, right?
Yes, I know many people who start with what looks small and get life-changing results. Not miracles, real results. A retired man who avoids stairs begins with 5 chair rises every morning and a short walk after dinner. A woman who feels unsteady begins balance practice while brushing her teeth and adds light strength work twice a week. Months later, they are not younger in years, but they are younger in function. That matters.
Younger in function. That feels like the honest version of reverse aging.
I think that is the medically responsible way to say it. If your legs get stronger, if your blood sugar improves, if your sleep gets better, if your mind feels sharper, if you can move through the world with more ease, then yes, you have reversed some decline. That is meaningful.
There is another thing people get confused about. They hear that sitting is the new smoking, and then they panic if they rest too much.
Rest is not the enemy. Unbroken, inactive sitting for long periods is the problem. Humans have always rested. But in many traditional ways of life, people shift, squat, stand, carry, and get up often. Modern sitting can be very still and very long. So I tell people, do not fear the chair, just do not marry it, get up regularly, move every little while. Even a short break matters.
That image is going to stay with people. Do not fear the chair. Just do not marry it. Why does that matter so much?
Because when you sit without interruption for too long, blood flow changes, muscles stop working, blood sugar control worsens, and the body gets the message that it does not need much capacity. Remember, the body follows demand. Remove demand, and the body cuts back. That is efficient. It is also dangerous in a modern world.
So the hidden reason many people feel older than they are is not age alone. It is low demand.
Very often, yes, the body is a use it or lose it system.
There is something else I want to ask, because this can sound hard for people who are tired or in pain. What if movement already feels unpleasant?
That is very important. Pain, fear, arthritis, bad experiences, shame, all of that can make movement feel threatening. So do not start with punishment. Start with compassion and consistency. If you have pain or a medical condition, work with a clinician when needed. Begin below the level that scares you. Build trust with your body again. The goal is not to win today. The goal is to still be moving a year from now.
That is powerful because many people quit from trying too hard, too fast.
Yes, they treat movement like a test instead of a relationship.
That may be one of the most important lines in this whole conversation. But I want to rehook people here because there is another habit that most people ignore. They work on movement, maybe even food, but they neglect the hours when the body does its quiet repair. Let us talk about sleep.
Sleep is essential. It is when many repair processes are supported. Memory is organized, hormones shift, the brain and body recover. Now we should be careful. Sleep is not a magic cure, and research on sleep and healthy aging is not simple in every detail. But poor sleep is clearly associated with many problems that make aging feel harsher, such as worse mood, worse thinking, less energy, and poorer health.
I am glad you said that carefully, because in the health world, people often make sleep sound like some perfect switch you flip, and then your whole life changes.
Yes, and that can make people anxious, which makes sleep worse. The goal is not perfect sleep. The goal is better sleep habits and proper help when sleep is persistently poor.
So when people say, I am older now, of course I sleep badly, should they accept that?
Not automatically. Sleep does change with age, but poor sleep should not simply be dismissed. Older adults still need enough sleep, and many do best around 7 to 9 hours in a day, though each person is different. If you have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or you wake unrefreshed all the time, that is worth attention. Sometimes it is stress, sometimes it is pain, sometimes it is sleep apnea, which means breathing problems during sleep. Sometimes it is timing, light, alcohol, or medication. These things matter.
What most people do not realize is that sleep is not only about the night, it is about what you do all day.
Very much so. Morning light helps set your body clock. Daytime movement helps sleep pressure build, which means the body becomes ready for rest. Late caffeine, too much alcohol, Heavy meals near bedtime, irregular schedules, and bright screens late at night can all interfere. So sleep begins when you wake up, not when your head hits the pillow.
That is such a clear way to put it. Sleep begins when you wake up. Can you paint a real-life example? Because I think many listeners will recognize themselves in it.
Imagine a man in his late 60s. He wakes tired, stays indoors most of the morning, drinks coffee late, naps on the couch in the evening, watches bright television in bed, and wonders why sleep feels broken. His body clock is getting mixed signals. Compare that with someone who gets outside in the morning, moves during the day, keeps a fairly steady bedtime, keeps the room dark and cool, and uses the bed mainly for sleep. That person is giving the body much better instructions.
And if someone is awake at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, feeling scared that their health is falling apart, what would you want them to hear?
I would want them to hear that one bad night is not a tragedy. Even a stretch of poor sleep is not proof that they are doomed. The answer is not fear. The answer is steady habit change and proper evaluation when needed. If sleep problems persist, talk to a doctor. Many causes can be addressed. People should not quietly suffer for years and assume nothing can be done.
I also notice that when people sleep poorly, they move less the next day, eat worse, feel lonelier, and everything starts to slide.
Exactly. These habits are not separate boxes. They are a system. Poor sleep can reduce movement. Low movement can harm sleep. Loneliness can harm both. Good habits help each other. That is why small changes can create a powerful upward cycle.
I want to stay on that word cycle because I think so many listeners know the downward one very well. But there is still one habit left, and I honestly think it may be the most surprising. It does not come in a bottle. It does not look impressive online. Yet it may change how long and how well people live. That is connection.
Yes, social connection is not a luxury. It is a biological need. Humans are a deeply social species. We regulate stress together. We motivate each other. We notice when someone is slipping. We eat together, walk together, grieve together, laugh together. When those bonds weaken, health often weakens too.
I think this part hits hard because many people aging today feel invisible. Their children are busy, friends move away, a spouse dies, the house gets quiet, and then the body seems to go quiet too.
That is very real. Loneliness is not only a feeling, it affects the body. It is associated with higher risk of many serious problems, including heart disease, depression, stroke, dementia, and early death. That does not mean one lonely season ruins a life, but long-term isolation can be profoundly harmful.
Why is that? What is the hidden reason connection affects the body so deeply?
Because being alone for long periods can keep the body in a more threatened state. Stress systems can stay more active, sleep can worsen, movement drops, food habits get poorer, people delay medical care, they lose routine, they lose meaning. Very often, the body is not only missing company, it is missing regulation.
Missing regulation. That is such a strong phrase. So if someone listening lost a partner, retired, and slowly stopped going out, this is not about weakness. It is about a whole human system losing structure.
Yes, and this is why simple acts matter. A regular call, a shared walk, a class, a volunteer role, a neighbor you greet, a meal with family, a church, club, garden group, book group, dance group. Connection does not have to be huge. It has to be real and repeated.
I know a woman who was doing fairly well after retirement. Then her husband died, and within a year she looked older in a way that was hard to describe. Not only sad, smaller, slower, less alive. Then her daughter got her into a community walking group. Nothing dramatic happened overnight, but after a few months there was color in her face again. She cared how she dressed. She laughed. She stood taller. It was like something turned back on.
I believe that. I have seen versions of that many times. People often think the cure was the walking. Sometimes it was the walking, but often it was the belonging. The walking worked because somebody was waiting for them.
That line is going to break people open. The walking worked because somebody was waiting for them.
Purpose is powerful. In human evolution, older adults were not meant to fade into the background. They often played vital roles. They helped gather food, share knowledge, care for grandchildren, and support the group. There is a reason many people deteriorate after they feel useless. The body needs a why, not only a workout.
So thriving past 90 is not about fighting age like an enemy. It is about giving the body what it was built to expect.
Yes, challenge, recovery, and connection, effort, rest, and meaning. We do not need to live like ancient people, but we do need to remember what kind of creature we are.
I want to ask the question many people are thinking right now. What if I have already let things slide? What if I am listening at 68, 75, even 82, and I feel like I am late?
Late is not the same as finished. People can improve at almost any age. Not everyone can return to what they were at 30. That is not the goal. The goal is to get better from here, better balance from here, better sleep from here, better strength from here, better connection from here. Biology is not all or nothing.
That is a deeply hopeful message, but also a practical one. So if someone says, "Give me the simplest way to begin without feeling overwhelmed," what would you say?
Start with one promise so small that it feels almost silly. A 10-minute walk after breakfast, 5 chair stands before lunch, going outside for morning light, calling one friend every Sunday, turning off the screen 30 minutes earlier at night, then repeat it until it becomes part of you. Success in aging often looks boring in the moment, but over months and years, it is life-changing.
That is so good, because the internet trains people to chase dramatic change. But real health is often built in quiet ways.
Exactly. The dramatic thing is often the result, not the method.
I also want to touch on fear, because fear drives so much health behavior. People see a parent lose memory or lose mobility, and they panic. They think, "I am next."
Fear is understandable, but fear alone is not a good plan. A better question is, what can I still influence? You can influence how much you move. You can influence whether you build or lose strength. You can influence many sleep habits. You can influence whether you stay socially connected. You can influence whether you ask for help. Those are real forms of power.
And maybe that is the emotional heart of this whole conversation. Aging can make people feel powerless, but helpless is not the same thing as human.
Well said, we are adaptable creatures. That is one of our great gifts.
Before we close, I want to bring all of this into one image. If you had to speak to the person listening alone right now, maybe with aching knees, a tired mind, and the feeling that their world has gotten smaller, what would you want to say directly to them?
I would say this: your body is not punishing you, it is responding to the conditions around it. Give it a little more movement, and it can become more capable. Give it better sleep conditions, and it can recover more deeply. Give it connection and purpose, and it can become more alive. Do not ask for perfection, ask for direction. The goal is not to become young again. The goal is to become stronger, steadier, clearer, and more connected than you are today.
That is so reassuring, not perfection, direction.
Yes, that is how people age well.
And I think this is important too. None of this means people should ignore real illness or try to solve every problem on their own.
Correct. If someone has chest pain, severe fatigue, falls, depression, major sleep problems, memory concerns, or pain that limits daily life, they should seek medical care. Good habits matter enormously, but they are not a replacement for appropriate diagnosis and treatment. They work best with good medical care, not instead of it.
Thank you for saying that, because hope needs honesty to be trusted. Dr. Lieberman, this has been one of those conversations that does not only inform people, it gives them their dignity back. It reminds them that the future is not written in stone.
Thank you. That is what I hope for. Aging is real, but so is adaptation.
Then maybe the real question is not, can I stop getting older? Maybe the real question is, can I keep becoming more able, more awake, and more connected as I grow older?
I think that is exactly the right question.
And to everyone listening, if this conversation stayed with you, do not wait for a perfect Monday, a perfect gym plan, or a perfect mood. Choose one small act today. Walk, stand, stretch. Sleep with more care tonight. Call someone you miss. Then come back and tell us what changed. If you enjoyed this episode, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and keep listening. This is Dr. Daniel Podcast, and we will see you in the next conversation.